Abortion happens every day. Millions of people around the world will have an abortion each year, but the majority of those people will never talk about their abortion experiences. What if millions of people broke their silence and told the truth about their lives and their choices? This is Melissa Madera in Berlin, Germany, and you're listening to the Abortion Diary podcast. These are the stories we share.
I had a friend who was a nurse, just a friend, and she gave me, I don't know whether I peed on something, I don't remember, and anyway, but it was her who had to take it in and get it checked, because she was my friend, and she just did it, not officially, just on the side. She came over to my house, and she was almost shaking, and she said, "I can't believe I'm the one that has to tell you this." She said, "But you're pregnant." And it wasn't a doctor, it wasn't anything, it was just a friend who happened to be a nurse that I peed on a stick. And she realized, God, I'm gonna have to break this to her. You're pregnant, and that was kind of a little bit of a shock to her. I kind of knew, but it was hard for her. That's how I found out. Maybe I could have gone to a doctor, I don't know, but I wanted to know it was soon. I wanted to know right away. I didn't want to fool around. So I think it was just like 3 weeks after my period didn't come. It was, now they do it the next day, I guess. But I waited about 3 weeks, and then I got a little scared, and I was right. I was a young mother. I had children 5 years old and 7 years old. I didn't have a very good marriage, and we were talking about separating, and I found myself pregnant, and I was just about to have my daughter in kindergarten, and I just couldn't see taking on a brand new baby with a possibility of living alone and raising this child by myself. So that's why I decided the best thing for me was to terminate the pregnancy, and that's what I did. It wasn't legal in Pennsylvania where I lived, so I had in-laws that lived in New York City, and actually they let me stay at their house, and my mother-in-law took me for the abortion, and I had no problems. Everything was fine, and I think shortly after that they did make it legal to have an abortion in the United States, but that was my story. I did have to travel, and I was lucky that I had the resources and the support to do it. And I feel very bad for women that don't have that opportunity today, so I'm fighting for that.
How did you find out where to go get the abortion?
Actually, my mother-in-law, she knew somebody in Poughkeepsie, New York, who performed abortions. And she's the one that arranged the whole thing. Like I said, I was very lucky. I had support. They treated me with respect. It was very quick. I was in and out, and I went home to bed immediately after. But I could have gotten up and gotten around. I just babied myself a little, but there really isn't too much to it. It's an easy thing.
Mm-hmm. And how much did it cost?
Do you know? I don't know, because I don't think I paid for it. I think my in-laws did. And I have no idea what they paid. At that time, it was probably something like $125. That's what pops in my head.
Why do you want to share your story?
Because I think it's important that people know that I had resources, and people should be aware that isn't true for everybody. Some people can't afford to travel. I mean, I had to travel, and I was able to, but they're making it harder and harder for women to get abortions. Like, what is there, one service provider for miles and miles in Georgia and some of these states? They have to travel for miles. Well, if you're a poor woman, you can't do that. And I just think people have to be aware.
Have you shared with other people? Have you shared with your kids?
Not really. I haven't really discussed it. I think I briefly mentioned once to my daughter that I had an abortion. But I don't think I've ever discussed it with my son. So, what does that tell you? I don't know what it tells anybody. And of course, I've told my present husband, and of course, my ex-husband knew about it. Here's a little funny aside. Even though our marriage was bad and everything, and we were going to do this, he said, "Gee, wouldn't it be nice to have another baby?" I said, "Yeah, thank you," but no, thank you. But I mean, he wouldn't have taken over. He was just going on like he did anyway. So, but I just thought that was a little interesting side note. Like he thought that would be cute.
Did he go with you to get the abortion?
No, my mother-in-law did. Well, he could, he had things to do. Well, yeah, that was it. I mean, what's supportive anyway? My mother and father-in-law were supportive. I guess he drove me to their house, so drove me home. What can I do? That's what he did.
As always, for more information about the Abortion Diary podcast, visit us on the web at theabortiondiary.com or email me with your questions or comments. If you would like to share your story, send me an email at melissa@theabortiondiary.com or visit our website, click on Share Your Abortion Story, and fill out our contact form. If you're a fan of the podcast and would like to help us reach more folks, please subscribe on iTunes and write a review or rate this podcast. Your reviews and ratings will help us grow in the iTunes rankings and reach more people. I would also love to hear from you. You can also follow The Abortion Diary on Twitter or Facebook. And The Abortion Diary can't continue without your support. Support The Abortion Diary by making a tax-deductible donation to us on Fractured Atlas, or buying some of our wristbands or totes on Store Envy. And a special thanks to you for listening. I'll be back next week with a new story.